Reservation is not. Next item is new business. Is there anything on new business?
Mr. Chairman, I would ask that new business be placed, I guess, after our executive sessions, because there is one item that will need to be placed there. But we need to talk about that in the executive session. Actually, if we can do new business now, because that will be board. What we were discussing up here is on your working session sheet that I passed out again at 5 o'clock. There's an item down there listed under new business, and it is the right-of-way request from Kokosi. We'll go ahead and discuss that item within executive session. If there's any discussion or action necessary, it can be taken in. It will be taken in open session. But we do need to discuss that first. Yes.
Can we do that? Can we do that in executive session?
The discussion is going to be in executive session.
Yeah, can we just
action is
you can discuss potential litigation.
Yeah.
In executive session, and to the extent that might be part of that discussion, but actually consideration of whether to grant the easement or not is an open session.
Open. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I think.
So I mean, it all depends on the extent to which you get into executive session and discuss things related to the easement. And I don't know how that would go, so you don't know.
Yeah, I know. And that's what I'm thinking.
I guess for the record, Kokosi, the construction company, has made a request to the board for an easement.
Yeah, and I can see why.
Area.
Yeah, I can. Okay, the easement's on the other side. On the other side, you can see the top of the box cut up there. It's shattered off the faces. I mean, I spoke to Craig the other day. I would assume that they want to put a bench on the other side of the mountain facing the school, so they know that there's a slip that's going to. I mean, there's rock there, the whole thing, and I'm not forgiving them. You know, if you move that berm, I mean, you'll have to move it all the way back to the school. No, don't give them. No. I mean, you know, no reason. I mean, that's just that.
Or you want to make that a form of
I'll make it a form of motion. There's nothing really to discuss. I mean, I would like for, so I don't know how much this will cost, but you can look at it. I mean, I looked at it the other day. The whole top that they've got up there, the top of the box cut back towards the school shattered all the pieces. I mean, you can see it. I mean, you can see it. You know, I was thinking the other day when it rained, there's not going to be much to cause that thing to slip. And if it slips, I mean, it goes right into the gym and everything. Could we get an engineer to look at that, Craig? I mean, is that possible to look, you know, to get an engineer to look at that to see how stable it is? Obviously, it's not very stable if they want a right-of-way to build a bench on the other side. Correct?
Yeah, I think it's obvious. They think that
the
material's going to come down.
They think it's going to come down. Yeah. And you know, they've not been very helpful towards us. So
are you making a motion not to grant an easement?
Oh yeah, no easement at all.
I'm not going to make a second on that.
Yeah, they want you to give them the easement.
No,
They don't want to buy the easement or pay anything for it.
No easement.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, indicate so now.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Gary made the motion.
Yeah, I made the motion. Yeah, I mean, I looked at that the other day, and I just, I mean, it really, I mean, here's the thing, have we not made a decision to close this school back in July? Can you imagine what we would face now? Well, know what our kids would face. I'm talking about the board as far as liability, but what our kids would, you know, the potential, you can look at it and see. I mean, there's nothing there really holding that stuff back. A good heavy rain like we had the other day, mean, they just shattered it all. I mean, it's just, I mean, as you call them mine, it's completely unstable. I mean, you can see the trees on the top of that box that's even leaning. So the whole thing is, nah.
So you got a lot of good pictures.
Huh?
You got a lot of good pictures.
Not any pictures. I just looked at it. Can I also ask this, Greg?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, as an add-on, can we just look into having some type of engineer look at that?
Right. Yeah, you need a highway engineer probably.
Yeah, you have to look at that and see how stable it is, because it's obvious that if they want an easement, that their folks already know that it's bad. Yeah.
Is there any further new business to come before the board? Before we go into executive session?
Question on some business. Last meeting, I asked, we didn't get a treasurer's report. Did we forget it again this month? Did we not get a treasurer's report? I got the orders and the warrants, you know, bank balance and everything.
I think you're speaking, Mrs. Sloan.
Yeah, we used to get the bank balance, previous balance, and the new balance.
Oh, you mean when I did the monthly financial report?
Yeah, financial.
That just hasn't been a process in the past couple of months.
That's what I said. I asked last month, and they said they forgot it. I just wondered if you forgot it again this month.
No, I haven't got it, but it's just
Okay.
something that's not been a routine. It was for a little while.
I thought it was a routine.
And it's something we could
What
look at.
do you do?
Doing like a monthly overview. That's
A
what we make
financial.
overview.
Just financial report, we certainly would do that.
Yeah.
Is that something that the board would like to, I mean,
I thought that
not
was
that that would
routine.
be,
It
I
was,
mean,
it was from
Yeah.
from February till about July. Yes, it was every month. It's whatever.
We were kind of in the process mode at that time, so
We were.
that's probably why we were more
Okay, I was
intent.
just wondering.
is there a particular report that,
The finances was a crisis. That's why I was interested.
well, hopefully we have maybe not solved the crisis, but hopefully we've made tremendous progress to that. If there's a particular, you know, area of focus that you're interested in, or if just the whole report,
If it's a
come on by
board
the
member
office.
and a Martin County
You don't-
citizen, I'm
you
just
don't-
interested.
We could
I
do
mean,
that.
as a board employee.
You don't have to be Martin County citizen. It's an open record. Anytime that you want, and if you ask me for it, and if I didn't, I don't know, it just didn't register.
No, I've never, I've always just listened to it at the meeting.
Right.
Oh,
That's
okay.
all. I've just listened at it here.
All right.
Question.
Oh, it makes me
We
feel
could
better.
ask him to do that.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's good.
That's fine. Tammy loves getting up front of people talking.
Better. I can do
All
that.
right. Thank you, Tammy.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there any further new business?
I have a question about our workers' comp for the Family Resource Use Service Centers. We have a budget that we go by each year, and our budget has been budgeted like even up to $4,000 a year for workers' comp. And it should have been $277. I would just like to ask the board if there's any way that y'all could put that money back. Since I had a tremendous,
Well, Roger and I heard,
this is my
I know,
regional
well,
program manager
I
for
know.
Jones.
you brought this, you talked to me a number of times on this and stuff like that. Like I said, I don't have, I don't,
You told me
okay,
to
but,
discuss with
okay, are you
employees.
Mr.
Doug
Jones?
Jones, yeah.
Okay. Can,
Would you like me to?
yeah, if you want to, I understand that you, yeah,
Okay.
that, yeah,
Sure.
that,
Yeah. I'm Doug Jones, and I'm the regional manager for Family Resource Services. And of course, I know, work very closely with Mr. Finette. And couple of principals I see and some advisory council members. Over a period of several years, and I actually prepared a kind of like a short narrative about the history of an issue which the present administration and board has inherited. But I think maybe I could provide some clarification, and I am here to, the old adage, I'm just here from the state, here to help. I know that doesn't resonate real favorable with y'all right now, and I certainly appreciate the issues that you've been faced with, but I am from the state and I am here to help. So I'll be glad to answer your questions, but I do have kind of a narrative prepared for you that I'll be glad to share with you, some of the history and a little bit about where we are and what we need to do. Make sure I got everything here. Got three pages there?
Yes. Okay,
You've got one more there.
okay, for the record, Roger and I spoke to Mr. Jones last week, right, Roger, Friday? I got a call this evening from Brian Lankett, who is, I guess he's the chief of public accounts, and he wanted to know if Mr. Jones was coming to this meeting to clear up something that apparently the state auditor is very, very interested in. So my thing is I want to get this thing resolved before it goes. I don't want the auditor back in here. I mean, I hate for us not to do our jobs. I mean, we're the board, so we should just do our jobs without having anybody. I'd like for the auditor to look at us and actually pat us on the back. Hey, you did the right thing, instead of being forced to do.
So this is not
Yeah.
resolved as we were.
Yeah.
This is not resolved then?
No.
I received an email on the, I believe it was this.
We
Is it
did
the
resolve
seventh?
this year.
of December?
I would say that, just let Mr. Jones go through his narrative.
Saying this
We
is
did go
resolved.
back and reimburse, and not reimburse, we backed out of a set approved budget, the workers' comp equivalent to the Friskies, or to the Frisky. Is that right, Ms. Sloan? Okay. So we did resolve that this year, this budget. I believe that there's.
Well, let me just, if it's
That's
okay,
what I'm saying.
Mr. Meadows, yeah. Okay, let me tell you just a little history about how we work, and make sure so that we're on the same page in the future, okay? The Martin County School District has been awarded since 1994 for 6 centers in this district, Family Resource and Service Center. And our funding is based upon the free lunch rates, which are submitted each December. And then based upon that configuration comes from KDE for the lunch numbers, and it flows through the cabinet for health and human services. Okay. Then once the continuation plan, the budgets, and the budget narratives are approved by the advisory council, they're designed by the coordinators based upon needs and the training that they receive in their office. Once those are approved by them, then every principal, every site-based decision-making council, the district contact, and the superintendent eventually signs off on those, okay? So that's a contract. And that is then issued from the cabinet to the school district. And then a funding invoice results from that, and that's how you're awarded your money based upon those free lunch rate configurations for each school. And if any amendments are made to that, center operations, staffing changes, whatever, that has to be done through a process with advisory council input, signed off on, and submitted with the signatures from the district contact, which is Mr. Crenette now. And Mr. Meadows has said that he wants to see everything that comes through now, and that's great. And then once that happens, then I approve it, or there are contingencies made to that based on justifications, which are sent back to you. You receive your money through 4 quarterly installments per year. As far as the history and what's going on in the questions they're asking about the workers' compensation, from the time period of 1994 until 2006, and I've been working in this position for 16 years. The biennium workers' compensation line item for each of the 6 centers in Martin County was aligned with any and all the other districts in my region, which is Eastern Kentucky, as well as the state. So those ranged, when I went back and did my inquiry, of about $74 many years ago, and then eventually went up to about $100. And then after the Kisbit, all the others and the other issues that have happened in the state, that number has jumped to around $200 per center employee. So it includes the coordinator and any support staff. Okay. Now, about, I guess it was 2006, when there was a previous district contact, I was asked to approve a budget where there was some padding done in student needs line item. Okay. I refused to do that because that was not state protocol. And I had the opportunity then to have hip replacement surgery, and at that particular point, another person assisted in doing the budgets and budget narratives, and eventually I did go back and revisit those. And when I was able to try to get resolve about them being inflated so much, the district told me that the reason they had jumped from $200 to $2,000 was because this particular Martin County School District had the highest ratio in the whole state of Kentucky. And based upon that funding formula, that was the way it was calculated. Okay. So, in thinking about programs for the children and such at that late date, I want to be sure that the programs went on. And so I did approve the budget for that year.
Okay, what year was that?
That was in 2006, 2008.
2006, 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when it jumped.
Right, with the contingency.
Tenfold.
10 times. With the contingency that there would be an inquiry made by the district and that they would determine why that had raised so much, and I would like to see documentation for that. And quite honestly, until Mr. Connect came on, I wasn't privileged to receive any information, but he worked hard to try to do that. And I was told at the end of last fiscal year, which was about May of last year, that we had some good news, that we would be getting the money back because it had been overcharged, and we would be able to do that before the end of the fiscal year. And I cautioned and said, we need to do this to make sure we don't lose the money before the end of the fiscal year. And about June 3rd, I kept pursuing it. I was told that that was not going to happen, that they stood by the numbers, and that's what the amount was. So again, 10 times the amount of anybody else in the state of Kentucky. So I have been working for some time with various state agencies, Department, Division of Insurance, Wage and Labor Boards, local insurance companies, other district financial services for the individual counties, and trying to find out just how workers' compensation works, because that was nothing that I'd ever been involved in. And typically it's a district issue, and we have never had any problems where numbers have ever been exaggerated or inflated to that amount. So, to make a real long story short, tonight, and I'll be available for any questions that you have, and I'll answer them fairly and honestly. I did my own inquiry rather than ask for the auditors to come in or to ask for a financial audit from the cabinet, because I care about these coordinators, I care about these kids and this program, because these ladies that work in this program here, and all of my coordinators here are ladies, do an outstanding job. They work far above and beyond, and quite honestly, over the years, they've oftentimes been treated as second-class citizens. When other people got raises, even though they're supposed to, they didn't because of finances. They don't get a lot of flexible hours, and they're working at night, or, and I know we all do that. But I appreciate what they've done over the years. So what happened then was I finally, after contacting about 10 different state agencies, found somebody that would work with me. And I received the amount which was for each district in the state of Kentucky for workers' compensation. And when I viewed that, it didn't reflect what I was previously told. It was right in line with the other districts around me and around you. So when Mrs. Sloan was gracious enough, when I asked her, when I had the information, if she had her calculator handy, I asked her if she would divide the number of employees, which I was able to get off of another report, and I said, what number do you get? And she right in front of me said, $200. I said, exactly. I said, that's what I've been saying for years. That's what the workers' compensation should be. And so when I was asked, I said, well, do your teachers pay workers' compensation? Do your support staff, such as custodians, bus drivers, and such, or is that like most of my other districts where it's professional courtesy and the district pays for it? She said, no, those are not. And so she was very forthright. And so I said, well, it seems to me like that our grant programs are, paying the dividends for all of the workers' compensation for the district, because if it's that amount of money and what we're looking at, that assessment, then there's something wrong somewhere. So as a result, then, I made appointments to talk with the center coordinators. Over the years, I've had phone calls at home from advisory council members, from community members, from other folks in the school district, because nobody thought it was right. And quite honestly, I absolutely did not initiate anything with the auditor's office. I was called by the gentleman that he mentioned, and I was asked.
Because I've,
I don't know where it came from. It was anonymous.
Well, yeah. I'm one who contacted the auditor for this reason. Nor says you owe the...
You don't want to pass with my math at work.
Huh?
If I could,
Okay, go ahead.
this is the amount that's been took out of just my grant over these years. And not only is it took out of our Frisbee grant, this amount's been took out of my co-secretary over the last 4 years.
The whole thing, I need someone to tell me whether or not this is the amount owed. And I said, well, just because you say it doesn't mean it's owed. Just because anybody else says it, the auditor can tell. And from speaking to Brian Likens, and this evening I got a call from Mr. Likens after Mr. Johnson. We were going to wait and let this be like a meeting between you and Mr. Meadows. Mm-hmm. Mr. Likens called me this evening. Ronnie answered the phone and wanted to know what the board intended to do about this. If he heard that we were meeting. And he said, well, I think it's a good idea that you all meet and get this stuff settled, resolved, so that they don't have to look into it. I'd rather give the board a chance to, so that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing now. I mean, I want to know why. And of course, it's not under our watch. It's not under Mr. Meadows' watch. why we've been paying $2,000, why we have been paying 10 times the amount for workers' comp with this grant program. And I'd like to see if it's gone into other grant programs, if that's the thing, whatever we have, be it Head Start or whatever, see if we're charging the same thing. Why would we be doing that? I mean, why would we be, why would...
Let me try to answer that.
Okay.
You and I had a discussion today
Yeah.
on the phone. All of our grant programs are self-supporting. They supplement, they do not supplant. Meaning the grant programs, the funds that are received, they're very restricted on how they can be used, and the benefits or fringes that can be used out of those for special salaries. Again, I don't know the practices of the past, but I will say the practice that I've been informed of and what was discussed today specifically on this issue, I think is a good business practice. Is it 10 times the amount? Yes. There's a reason why it's 10 times the amount, and it's a business model. I think Mr. Jones has mentioned about other districts and the professional courtesy of general funds. That means local taxpayers picking up the tab, and it's significant. I think it's significant. I mean, when you're talking about our premiums of $180,000 a year for risk management, for workers' compensation. And by the way, Martin County has one of the highest workers' compensation payout in the state, and our premiums are going up every year. Now, what that means is there are some groups that are more at risk for injury and workers' comp claims than others. And my example today was, I'll just use myself. When I sit in this office, or if I drive throughout the district, or go on professional development, whatever it is, I'm a very low risk in workers' compensation in a business model.
Yeah.
Very low risk. Compare that to a food service worker who's working around industrial equipment. So there are very defined criteria that show the risk of workers' compensation or injury, employee injury. And that's the model that's used to support workers' compensation out of the grants, which is a legitimate, nothing in my discussions today has indicated that there's been anything that has been done illegally, and you and I have discussed this. I don't think it's right. I mean, we look at it.
No, I don't think
is
it's
is it fair, especially when it on the surface it may look like that somebody's robbing Peter to pay Paul here.
Yeah, if we pay per employee $200 some odd dollars, and it averages out to that. Okay, let's say that it averages out. Is that correct? You're taking money from the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, money that should be going to kids, the poor kids, the low-income kids.
I agree with that, sir.
And you're taking.
But what I'm saying is that the general fund does the same thing. General fund goes for kids too. It's directed for kids.
But do other school districts do this?
Well, there's a couple of options that can be done, and I'd like Ms. Sloan to give that information.
Okay.
And it is the board's discretion. At the end of the day, you're not creating money, you're not saving money, you're not saving money from kids. Or taking money from kids.
Could I say with all due
As
respect?
Mr. Jones said, I'm kind of not in the middle or the tail end of this, but the way I understand, our premium here shows you the different rates and the different categories. And it's about class rating, 3/4 down the page. And then you have one group of employees that is charged at a rate of 9. Another group of employees, 0.5. Another group of employees, 4. So if you take a group that is at 4 rating, that's 8 times.
It determines cost.
Okay, wait a minute. I don't
This
see
is
what it said.
from,
Where's the?
This
where's
is from
the-
King. This
Are
is
these
from